Uh, what's up? I'm getting this set up here to do a text blast here, so y'all could watch this, and it was giving me a couple of issues. So I'm gonna log in here. But in the meantime, let's go step by step. Carrie Wolf, what's up, Carrie? Where do you live, Carrie? What area?
Hey, John, Michigan.
Michigan, Michigan. All right. So what do you got going on up there right now, Carrie, in regards to real estate?
It's quiet. Inventory is really low.
Okay, does that mean your market's pretty hot up in Michigan?
No, it's not hot.
Well, that's perfect for what we do. But you say the inventory is low, and that's
Yeah.
something we could actually pull up on another screen here. Are you saying there's that many houses on the market, or what?
In general, there are not a lot of houses on the market.
Okay. Well, let's take let me set this up here on my end. Hopefully this will get going here. Let's try this.
I've been actually doing more work in Florida,
Okay, what area of Florida?
um, the Orlando area,
Okay.
and the West Coast, like Bradenton,
Oh,
Sarasota,
okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
St. Pete.
Okay.
I have
Uh,
I've I have some guys there that are ready to do rent to own homes or buy on seller finance.
okay.
I've been trying to find a match for them.
Uh, Let me. Well, so Florida is a great market for what we do because it's such a mess
Yep.
with days on market. You know, the market saturation and all that. I actually have a. I don't know if it's going to let me do it. I actually have did a scraped Hillsborough County, which is Tampa area,
Right.
Apollo Beach. But I was looking for a very specific price range, $800,000 at 1.4, and so there's not going to be that many. But I've got. Let me see here. I've got out of that Hillsborough County, 800,000 to 1. I think it was 1.4. I've got 11 that are for sale by owner because obviously in that price range, most people are going to go straight to the agent, to MLS, right, and list it. But I will. Let's see if we can send a. I don't know why this is giving me issues every now and then with our scraping and texting platform. It'll give us a little glitch. We got to come back to it here. Let me try this.
Yeah, I got a guy looking in the Orlando, Winter Park, Maitland, or Altamonte area,
Okay.
and he's looking to do a seller finance if I could find one for him. And it's he's looking for like a 4 bed, 3 bath, 2,000 square foot. And I've been finding mostly homes over his price range, which is like over 500,000. He wants something 500 and below. Everything I find is like over over 500. And I've
Oh,
been
there you are. Your video just came up, Carrie. So repeat that again.
sure. I have a prospective buyer looking in the Orlando
Yep.
area,
Yep.
Winter Park, Maitland, Altamonte, Florida,
Yep.
preferably under 500,000. And he's looking for a ranch style 3 bed, 3 bath, ranch level, ranch style home. And
Hmm.
everything I'm finding is over his $500,000 price.
Okay. And he's wanting seller finance.
Yep.
Okay. Um, and do you have so when someone so I normally don't go looking for a house for somebody. Normally it's
Either do I usually,
yeah,
but
bring in the inventory. Say here's what we got. But like this case in the gentleman in Florida that I've got, I know he's serious. I know he's legit. I know he's got the money, uh, and that's why I'm willing to uh, you know do a little bit extra work to try to find him a house. He'll also bring me houses and say, hey, here's these two or three that I'm interested in, whatever the case might be. And then I can reach out to the agent if they're listed or the owner. And but what you want to know, and you probably already know, Carrie, um, is the same three questions I'd ask anybody: is how soon are you looking to move? How much down do you have, and how much per month are you trying to stay under? Because obviously you're going to get paid off that down payment, and
Right.
so you want to know how much down does he have. Now he's looking for something under 500,000, correct?
Right. And
Okay.
he's got like 50,000 down. He's not in a hurry to find something within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And yeah, he's pretty patient. So he's flexible with the monthly payment.
Okay. You want to start dialing on that monthly payment, Carrie. You want to dial him. You want to kind of dial him in for what it is he can do per month, whether that's, as an example, 3,000 a month, 3,500 a month, or whatever. Because you're gonna have to back in the numbers
Right.
for that seller finance, and obviously figure in taxes and insurance.
Right.
So you want to kind of hold his feet to the fire on what he can do monthly, what he's comfortable, and that could you could also ask him, well, how much are you paying right now? And are you okay with that? Say he's paying 3,000 a month. Are you okay? Are you comfortable with that 3,000 a month, or can you go
Sure.
higher? You just want to find out where he stands on that. Um, when and so once you have that information, okay, so we can do 50,000 down. You want to know, well, how much of that do you plan on is your take? Say 10,000 or whatever you think you're going to get. Um, also, Carrie, you want to ask if he'd be okay. So let me back up a little bit. Uh,
Sure.
500,000, under 500,000, and this geographic area under $500,000. He's
Right.
50,000 down. He can do. He's comfortable with say 3,000 a month. I'm making up that monthly amount. He's
Right.
comfortable with X amount a month. Then you also want to find out now, Mr. Buyer, if we find something that seems like it may work, if the seller is requiring or wants a balloon payment, are you okay with that? Of say a 5 or 7 year balloon? Because the seller may ask, as you're discussing this with the seller may say they want a 5 or 7 year or whatever balloon, and you want to make sure your buyer's okay with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And then obviously, we already discussed this, how soon the buyer's looking to or is able to move. Okay. So let's take a quick look here, guys. And thank you for everybody for joining me here. Apologize that when such as tech is, I was going to do a massive text blast so y'all could see it live and see me call these sellers, but the software is it's glitching up, doesn't seem to know what time it and so it may be that I instead of text blasting these people then calling them, that I just do I just start I'm just going to call some of these people live without giving I normally don't do this, but I'm going to cold call some people just so y'all can see me at least make some calls. But I'm going to do a screen share here. I'm going to go back to here. I see what's going on there. I'm going to do a screen share for everybody, and I'm going to screen share participants. Hold on here. I think because I'm not on the participants chat, react, host tools, share screen. This is totally different setup here. What is going on here? Stop incoming video, workboards, show caption settings. Sorry guys, I'm trying to share my screen, but this is there like are the planets lined up where we're having all tech issues here or something today? This is
That's
crazy.
what I said. That's what I
I've done
said.
4,000 Zooms and never have had this issue. Chat, React, host tools, remove participants, or short video. That's okay. I apologize, guys. I'm trying to simply share a screen here, and it's not. I may have to. Yeah. I may have to do this, guys. I may have to bounce out and bounce back in. So, Giant, hold the fort for just a minute. Let me bounce out and bounce back in, guys, because I've got to be able to share my screen. I don't know why it's not doing it. So, bear with me, guys, as I bounce out, and I'll bounce right back in.
Larry, have y'all considered a different market?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, yeah, yeah, Jeanette, we're actually working in Western Washington as well too.
Okay.
The market's really been kind of weird over there. The rents have gone up, but what a lot of people are finding is that they're not even able to rent their places for in Western Washington. Obviously, they're not able to sell them at this moment either too because the the market's just so darn soft over there. But it, we get some crazy kind of deals over there, but again, it's the numbers are just so hard to work with over there, But yeah, so I
Oh,
for the rest of you, I messaged Jeanette because actually one of our markets is Spokane, and Spokane with the fires is really just completely changed, and we're just concerned about what's going on there. So,
so are there plenty of houses but no buyers or
well, in Spokane, because there's like I don't know 600 houses that are burned. We're really concerned about the basically the landlords are basically a lot of them are raising their rents, but they're
Mhm.
not willing to work with somebody that might say, hey, if I can find you a good person that wants to rent the house for several years and then buy it, would that work for you? They really are just thinking that, hey, just we want to get our houses filled as quickly as possible for as much money as we can right now. So
Okay.
Same experience here, Larry. And finding it in other states as well, parts of Texas, Maryland especially. Maryland, Michigan, where I am right now. Maryland's really overpriced still. Maryland's been overpriced for a long time. And parts of Florida, some of the prices and rents are coming down, but not in all parts of Florida.
So I'm wondering, what are the tenant buyers doing? These people who can't find a reasonably priced home, what are they doing?
They're renting Airbnbs right now, and some are just doing straight rentals or short. They may be doing straight rentals, but they may be short term rentals like
Mhm.
3 months or 6 months. And I have a family in Florida right now that they're looking for a home to rent to own or do seller financing. And they're in an Airbnb right now. And that's what they've been doing until they find something or I find
Okay.
something.
That's Michigan, Maryland, Florida.
That's
Larry, what
Florida.
about
Yep,
y'all?
yeah. That's this particular prospect is in Florida.
Okay. Larry, what are the tenant buyers in your neck of the woods doing?
well, where I live is basically there's the resort, and then there's the people that work at the resort and the area, that sort of thing, work in the service industry, and a lot of people are just living in apartments, and it's really pretty expensive, and it's kind of in a lot of respects it's kind of sad that I'm hoping for a little bit more of a correction here in North Idaho where people can say they can start to afford houses again and get into that. And I think a lot of it respects too. It's like, man, I see houses that have been on the market for years. Of course, they put it on the market and they take it off and they put it back on, but they still haven't resolved to the point that, hey, we need to really drop our price to make it so that there are actually people who can afford to actually buy these things. And so I think in many respects, it's like people just haven't really picked up that the market has changed, and there's a lot of people that are just saying, I'm not going to at 6.5, 7% interest, 8%, whatever. I'm not gonna pay that. It's just not going to do it. So
Same experience here. And Larry, I want to say thank you for all your information with Mariska over the years. And I think you guys have been great.
oh well, thank you. She's actually on another call, and she's doing great. We actually after her cancer, we basically we
Mhm.
had to restart our business. We had basically lived off of where there was a couple assets that we sold, and we lived off of that, and
Mhm.
and we really changed things, we kind of had a blank slate, and but it's been a challenge. Thank you.
Yeah, I can sympathize, empathize. Been there also.
Well, well, yeah. So Larry, haven't seen you in quite a while. Good to to see you, of course. How's Marisha doing? How are you all holding up?
Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good. Yeah, yeah. She's healthy, and we're back to doing things and everything else. Um, you know, but quite frankly, when you haven't done any marketing for quite a while, it's kind of like ramping up is a
Oh,
challenge.
yeah, without a doubt. When you haven't done marketing, it's like starting from square one. Because you've
Hmm.
lost all the momentum.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, same thing I teach even with direct mail. Um, uh, is that yeah, I haven't done direct mail in a while. But when the next time I do direct mail here, probably this month to I do direct mail again, it's gonna be like starting over, because it's been long enough where it's, you got to back up.
Yeah. And actually, one of the best houses that we found last year, the guy had the house there was this in Spokane. He had the house on market for 6 months, hadn't gotten a single offer, not even a low ball. And we mailed to all the addresses in Spokane that had their property on market for over 45 days or whatever it was. And he reached out to us and quite frankly, we met him at the house, and it was a really easy sale. It was basically, he said, "Oh, this sounds really good." In the meantime, we found, and it took us like 2 weeks to find somebody that came up with an option fee. He's a guy that he's uh, a journeyman carpenter, and he kind of bought into his business, and so he really would not qualify for like a couple of years because he's now an owner as opposed to employee. Well, in a very short time, he basically redone all the floors, he's redone the doors, he's done a whole bunch of improvements to the house, and so it's a win for the owner. Even if the guys say they walk away from it, they decide they don't like the house, they're not going to buy it. But I love those kind of stories because they're real and it's a win for everybody. It's
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, it is good to see you. Good to have everybody here. Good to see Larry. Tell Marisha we said hello, and I wish her.
Thank you.
And now I see what Jonette meant by Cynthia has a beard. What's up, sir? And Anthony, good to have you here from Tarrant County, and Carrie, good to have you here on this call. So, I was going to be able to show you all, do a text blast live in front of you, but we're having a little tech glitch. So normally I would send the text blast. I've already done the scraping where we pulled all the data. Then we would do a text blast, and then you would be able to see these responses come in live. And then you would see me call these sellers replying to their messages. In this case, it's temporarily giving me a glitch. It's pulled all the data, but I can't. It's not allowing me to send the text blasts that I was hoping to do. So what we'll do is a couple of things. Is I will do something that I really don't. I personally don't condone because to me it's just which is cold calling, where I'm going to, instead of text blast first, then call them. I'm just going to reach out, do it. You're going to have to do cold outreach. And why do I say I don't condone it? I'm not against it. It's just it's not typically the best use of our time. So where you may have educators that teach, cold call, and all this and that. Honestly, I don't have time for that. With scraping the data, pulling that data, and sending the text blast, you've got your foot in the door with these sellers. And then when you call them immediately, now you've already got the foot in the door, so it makes that transition quite a bit easier because you've just sent them a text, they've replied, and now you call them. So it's not the same as cold calling, where it's just totally out of the blue. But I'm going to do some cold calling here because of the tech issues, and go from there. I do want to finish up real quickly with Carrie. Carrie, you want to find out that information from your buyer. Again, just to recap, we know that some of this information we already know, but I'm just going to recap it all. Under 500,000, 50,000 down. What are you comfortable with per month? And are you okay if the seller wants a balloon on there of, say, 5 years or 7 years? Just to find that
Right.
information out, and then go to the sellers.
Right.
And so he's looking at the Orlando area. What county is that?
Not sure.
Okay, well, let's look here. So what I would do if I was looking for a house like that, I would go.
I can find out.
I would go to
That's it. Let's see. Orlando, Florida's in what county?
it is in Orange County. All right.
Yep, Orange County, right?
So what I would do
Orange County.
is I would do this. So you know it's Orange County. Where is So I'm on Redfin here. So what are you looking for? So now you know, okay, you've got all your numbers. How much the price, how much down, how much per month? Is you okay with the balloon or not? You know, whatever.
Right.
And then now you go Orange County. So you can look at things like Redfin and Zillow for rent by owner, for sub owner websites. And so let's look here, Orange County, and this is just giving us a feel, Orange County, Florida. So what I've got here is let me get rid of this on my screen. So we've got in Orange County, we've got 7,000 homes for sale. But now we can now keep in mind, most of these are going to be listed with agents, which is fine, but let's do it. We're just kind of getting a feel for the market here. Let's go for, you can also do for rent. For rent's going to be a good, don't rule out the for rents there, Carrie. It's very possible these people that have their houses for rent, they're for rent because they couldn't sell it, right? And so they're looking at plan B. So I'd also look at the for rents, but for right now, we're just looking at the for sale. We know we need to be under 500,000. So let's bring this down here, 500,000. Probably bring this up here to say, I'll say 350. Probably have to go higher than that, but still, no, I've got 1,600 homes. And again, right now, guys, we're just getting a feel for what's out there. I assume we want 3 more bedrooms. Now we're down to 1,481 houses. And so now this just gives you a feel for kind of what's out there and what you're looking for in a house. So here's 480, here's 500. This gives you a feel for what you're looking for in a house. Now, if my software wasn't glitching on me right now, then I could actually scrape Orange County, Florida, with those parameters of $500,000 or up to $500,000, say 3 more bedrooms, that type of thing, which I can grab the data, but right now it's not letting me send a text blast.
Yeah, I've been doing Zillow, Facebook, Marketplace.
Yep.
I even went to Hot Paths to check houses for rent.
Okay. Yeah.
I would text. They changed their format, how they can be contacted on some of the sites. So sometimes you have to backtrace the address to get to the owner to get a phone number, and I'll just text them and do it that way. And if I can't find a number, I will look.
So
I'll backtrace the address.
So I'm going to save you. I'm going to hopefully save you a little bit of time, Carrie. Does this gentleman, this buyer, I would say gentleman, but does this buyer currently live in Florida, in the Orlando area?
Yes.
Okay. I say him, but let the buyer be your bird dog.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I tell them if you're out in one of these areas and you come across something, just send the address to me or whatever information you have, and I'll do all the work and contact the owner on your behalf and put the deal together if we can.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. I would say, hey, Mr. Buyer, since you're looking in this area, you know exactly what you're looking for. Go online. Here's 2 or 3 different websites to look at to start looking at houses. Send me the link to 4 or 5, 6, 8 houses that you like, that are in the area you like, the price range you like. Send me the link and then let me take it from there. You want to keep in mind, some of these are going to be listed by an agent. So you want to be able to know going into these conversations how that agent's going to get paid. Because when you talk to an agent, all they care about is how are they going to get paid, right?
Right. And I've been avoiding most of the listed houses.
Sure. Yeah, because you don't want you just have to explain to the agent, explain seller finance to them, and it's just one hurdle after the other.
I have.
Yeah, but you want to know, if you do talk to an agent, how are they going to get paid, right? And so so if the agent's getting paid, let's just call it 3% on a $500,000 home, that's $15,000. Where does that leave you? How much does the seller get out of that? So you want to know what that looks like for the agent when you have those conversations.
Right.
But you would have that buyer send you whatever that is, 4, 5, 6, 8 links to houses that they like, right? Because otherwise you're out trying to find them a house that you're talking, having these conversations with the sellers, and they're, maybe they're on the fence, and you get back with the buyer, hey, I may have found you something, and they go, well, I really, and they're gonna, they may nitpick it. Well, I kind of wanted the kitchen to be on the east side of the house, or whatever, some garbage. And
Right.
so you just say, you know what, go find the houses you like, send me the links, and let me do my magic.
Right.
Honestly, that's what I would do, Kerry.
I do that, and then I have one request. In Tennessee, I was doing that, and I did speak to a realtor that's been in the business over 30 years, and she said, "Well, I've been around a long time. You're not going to find anything like he's looking for." And I'm like, "Well, there's properties similar to that, but I'm trying to bring him more down to earth on his price." And he wanted like acreage, and he wanted like a barn and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but there's no match. And she says, well, you won't find anything like that. I said I could find nice houses for him in a suburb of Nashville, but not further away, like out in the country that he's looking for, with meeting those exact details. And so, I try to find the house first, but sometimes I come across people that they have money and they are looking. So, I take a shot at it.
Yep. I've got a guy that reached out to me looking for a horse property outside of Orlando. I forgot where he said, but there again, I'm going to suggest that he go find the properties that he's interested in, and then let me know. Send me the
yeah.
So let me see here. If this doesn't do it, I'm going to have to cold call. Yeah. So it's there's a glitch in the matrix. So I'll cold call some of these sellers, and you'll be able to see that. Again, I normally don't cold call ever, to be honest with you. But we'll get into that. I'll do some cold calls while we're on here. Before I start doing some cold calls here.
Hey, wait a minute. Was that telling you the time had already passed?
Yes.
Put in 1.
At 1 o'clock?
It may think you're in Eastern.
Like 1:40 or just 1 o'clock?
Yeah, 1:40.
Okay.
See if that does it.
Wow, I did it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know why all of a sudden, maybe because I'm not, I don't know. All right. So we'll see what happens. Maybe so that was to where? That was to Tarrant. So let me go through here. Apparently, there's Johnson. So what I'm doing right here is I did a scrape. I pulled data, Johnson, on a few different counties. 7980068. All right. So 1, that's so weird. All right. All right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm setting up these text blasts to these counties. I've got Hillsborough County, Hillsborough is Tampa, Florida. But again, I did a scrape specific for houses within a certain parameter of $800,000 to 1 point, I think it's 1.5. Let me go through here. I want to make sure here. Johnson, Tarrant. Okay. let me set this up. Scripting, Johnson and Tarrant. I did that. So now Bear County. Bear County is in Texas. 08, 11, and then 7980068. So what do you think, Johnny? It thinks I'm on the East Coast.
Yeah, remember a while back I had a problem
Uh-huh.
and it thought I was in the wrong time zone.
Hmm. All right, so did all that, and now let's try. Let's see, scraping history. I did that. I did that. All right, let's do Hillsboro.
I also have a prospect in Dallas County, Texas, looking,
Okay.
and I haven't had much luck so far with that one. But that's Dallas County's looking for like 500,000 to $600,000 range, 4 bedroom, 3.5 to 4 bath. Has 60,000 down, could afford about 4,000 a month in that range. Doesn't care about a pool.
Does it absolutely have to be Dallas County?
He prefers Dallas County, and he gave me a handful of cities that he's interested in.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping, since we're getting close to Labor Day, some of the sellers will come back to reality and not take their home off the market or rent it out and do a straight rental. And they'll be a little more interested in alternative options.
All right, so I don't know that we have anything in Dallas, Johnny, and I don't do a lot of marketing to Dallas. We only stick with Tarrant County, which is Fort Worth, but we do get houses in Dallas County that are brought to us. I don't know what we have right now, but I would certainly I already paid that. I would certainly look at leasingtobuy.com to see what we have in Dallas, Carrie,
Yeah.
and see if we have anything right now. So let me get so I want to kind of regroup here, and now that we got texting going out, but I want to finish up here real quickly. Mr. Castillo, what's going on down there, sir?
Hey, how's it going, Don?
Good, good. As you can tell, I'm here. I'm not in Fort Worth right now, or San Antonio. Here at Lake of the Ozarks. Matter of fact, the lake is right there below me. And yeah, so still just doing my thing here, just with a different background. So what have you got going? You still have some fix and flips rocking and rolling, or what do you have going on?
Yeah, trying to finish one right now for Cynthia. And as we had discussed, we're gonna kind of, I guess, divide and conquer, so to speak. So I'll be doing the lease options solely, and she's gonna take care of the fix and flipping and other things.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, all right. Well, good to see you again, and I'll go up here to Anthony. I know you're in the Fort Worth area. Where, or I'm sorry, you're in the you used to live in Fort Worth, but now you're in East Texas in Lake the Tawakoni area, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. So yeah, so Anthony got my course it actually came to my boot camp probably 6-7 years ago. So my gosh. Oh, hold on here. Hello, this is John.
Don,
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Just hanging out here at Lake of the Ozarks and looking at some properties there in Texas. Let me see if I can find yours. You've got your house up for sale. How long have you been trying to sell your property?
I just listed it. Just they don't last long where I'm at. I just listed it about maybe a week and a half ago or something like that on for sale by owner. I didn't list it actually.
Gotcha.
I just put it on Zillow as for sale by owner.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Well, let me see here if I can pull this up on my computer. What area is that the one on let's see, what street was that one on? Because let's see here. Let me just 1 second here. Let me find this. Well, it's not pulling it up. I apologize. I'm sorry. What was your name, sir?
Uriah Freeman.
All right, Uriah. What?
Are you an individual or investor or what?
Well, so no, I mean, well, actually, my company is leasing to buy, but we actually help, and we do help investors and individual sellers with their properties, whether it be structuring lease purchasing, seller finance, depending on what it is they're looking to do, just to help them move the property a lot quicker. So that's what we do with leasing to buy. And so we have investors that reach out to us, real estate agents, as well as individual sellers that, may need a little, their house isn't moving as quickly as they'd like. And so they reach out to us to have us structure, again, there's a lease purchase or in some cases seller finance and see if we can help them with it that way. Are you an investor? Do you have other properties?
I've got several properties, but I'm just that's my home. I live there.
All right, this is your individual home. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm selling it and moving out of state. So.
Oh, where are you moving to?
Kentucky, probably.
Oh, is that right? What takes you to Kentucky?
That's where I'm originally from, and
Gotcha.
Just more work and stuff like that up there. So I'm
Gotcha.
still licensed there, and so.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I'm just going back up there. I reckon that's the plan anyway.
I got you. Okay. Well, let me see if I can at least pull this up real quickly while you're on the phone. You're right. What's the address of it? It's not pulling up for me.
It's 1613 Bent Creek Drive, Cleburne, Texas. But I mean, if you're interested in buying it, I'll sell it to you. But I'm not really looking for a. I'm definitely not looking for somebody to help me sell it. So
Sure.
There's 1,000 of them right there close to it. But,
Yeah. We're not, and just so you know, you're right. Yeah, I'm not a real estate agent. I don't, we're just, we help investors and sellers, structure different exit strategies. But yeah, so 1613 Bent Drive, yeah, it's a beautiful home, 675. It looks like so. Yeah, it's a gorgeous home, but yeah, if you're looking just to sell it on your own and not interested in looking at other opportunities like lease purchase or seller finance, then probably wouldn't be able to help you on that. But
you mean like where we finance it for someone, or like let somebody else seller finance it to a buyer?
Right. Yeah. So we do a couple of things, right? We either structure 12-month lease purchasing where our buyers come in, they're in the process of getting financed, but then within 12 months they get traditional financing. In some cases, may look to structure a seller financing if the investor or the seller is open to that. Seller financing obviously is where you're holding the note, you're making more money, but you become the Bank of Uriah, right? So it's two different structures. Yeah. I got you. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've actually got somebody that. I'm not sure if I can. So what's your fee of like doing that type of thing? As far as I've got somebody interested in it, if we can do a wraparound mortgage on it,
Yeah,
no, I still have a mortgage on it. So
yeah,
I don't know what I don't know on that, but
I see. Yeah, have you ever structured a wrap note?
I've never done one. No, I just thought it would be a good idea. I mean, I've got extremely low interest rates on it, and so I could even give them a better interest rate than they can get at the bank, or it's good, maybe even a little more. And and be able to pocket 18 or 20 grand a year, I think, on interest alone. But,
Yep. Do you know, have you, and we can take it one step at a time to at least kind of give you some information and kind of see how to structure that. Have you spoken to this individual as far as how much down payment they might have?
yeah, I told them they'd have to have 20% basically. So
Okay.
it would be around. I'd have to look up see what I texted. I texted everything, so I've got it. And give me 1 second here.
Sure.
And they may have moved on. I don't know because I'm out of town, and like I said, they don't usually last very long there.
Yeah.
So 135,000.
Okay.
Is what I told them they'd have to have down.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And do you all discuss, well, let me ask you this, you may not know this off the top of your head. How much is your interest rate on the underlying?
2.75.
Okay. Yeah, that's a heck of a rate. And, did you, so you said 20% down for this buyer. Did you quote them a interest rate already?
Well, he said that they was in the fives, and I was like, I think I could do 5, but I didn't commit anything because
Sure.
we hadn't, like I said, I need to make sure I can even do it. I don't know if I can even do it or not. So.
Well, let me do this, Uriah. I can put some sample numbers together for you. What I'll do is I can actually just email you like a 2-minute video that shows the amortization table and all that stuff, so you can really kind of dial in what that would look like. And this is what we do all day, every day. So always happy to help you with that. What's your email address, Uriah?
I'm very familiar with amortization and all that.
Sure, yeah. If you're doing seller finance, yeah. What's let me grab. What's your email address, and I can just send this to you.
What company are you with?
Leasing to buy.
Okay. It's I just don't want to be. I don't want you to send my information to much other people. You know what I mean? I don't.
No,
I don't know.
I'm not.
Company.
Yeah, I've done this this is my company for 23 years. So I don't have anybody to send your information to other than me. I've got nobody to blast it to. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yep. I started this so long ago. Yeah.
Number 4, servicework@gmail.com.
Work at gmail. That's the number 4, servicework@gmail.com.
That's right.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put just some quick information together and just email it to you here a little bit later today and kind of walk you through what that would look like with a wrap note and all that. But happy to help any way I can, even if it's just referring you to the right attorney and this and that. But yeah, I'll put that together and shoot you an email here with a short little video here.
What your percentage is or whatever too,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I'll put all that in the email. It's super simple, really easy. We do this a ton for investors that have volume of properties. But yeah, I'll put I'll put this together for you on your property here in just a little bit, and then we can circle back later today or tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like if we could make it sweet enough for those guys, and make where they have to have a less of a down payment, make it more doable for them. I don't know what kind of means they have or whatever, if they're selling a property and upgrading or if it's the first time or what, but he seemed like he came and looked at him and his wife came and looked at the property and before I left, and they seem like, she's a school teacher, but he seemed like a upper middle class kind of guy, not necessarily white collar, but he didn't necessarily seem like he's turning wrenches either. So
right.
So yeah, I'm not 100% sure what kind of means they have, but
sure, that
would be something that I feel like would be possibly good too, is to have it where maybe make that as an option. If they put less down and a higher percentage, maybe
yeah,
that might be good too.
Yeah, and I'm always
obviously the payment's got to be affordable at the end of the day. You know?
right, right. Did they say that they had the 20% down, or was it just that you had said, "Hey, here's what I would need 20% down"?
Let me see what they replied with. Uh, he said, right, it's something like it's okay. So he said, for sure, what would normally be required for a deal like this? I've never done anything like this before. And I said, typically 20%. And he said, I'll see what I can come up with for sure.
Okay.
And I said, but the more you pay for a down payment, the lower the payment would be. And then I said, that would be $135,000. He said, right, it's something I definitely look into. Let me do some research and call a buddy of mine if you want to check on it. So that was, but then, so that was, we didn't, corresponding there. And then, he kind of come back with thinking, that it's, his comps were a little bit, different than what I compared it to. But, and so, I said, well, let me double check on the square footage, because actually the house is, the way they do it there in Cleveland, is, hey, I think somebody's pulling in here that I need to talk to, so I'm gonna have to jump. But
Sounds
what they
good.
do it in Cleveland is they, if you have to go outside of the, if you have to step outside of, like go through the garage to get to another room, they don't figure that as part of the actual square footage.
Yep.
Are you Archie? All right, come on in. Hey, I gotta jump over here.
You bet. I'll get this information. I'll shoot you an email here a little bit later, okay? And we'll go from there.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye. Okay, so all right, so let me go back to you all here. Okay, so quick recap on that call. So that's pretty unusual where I send a text blast and somebody calls. On our platform, we'll put our phone number in there. The platform sending from one phone number, but we'll put in my case, I'll put my cell phone number, in there. So if they call, they get the text and they call, it'll come to my cell phone. That's what that was. So he called me and you heard that conversation. He's apparently sold some other houses, seller finance is what it sounded like. Moving to Kentucky, you got this house in Cleburne, Texas, $675,000. Has talked to a potential buyer about seller finance. So what's the next step with this? I've got his email address, and so what I'll do is I'll put a little video together with to show him what that would look like if we were to market seller finance. Now, so I can actually, I think I can do this while I'm on Zoom, and you all can see me do this. So with so a couple of things there. One, he's looking to move. He has a potential buyer that he discussed seller finance with. Don't know if the buyer has 20% down or what, but I'm going to show you all what I use to do the amortization with, which is calculator.net. And you're going to see me do this video that I'm going to record and then send it to him. If he's got a potential buyer, I'll probably be willing to put all this together for him for just a pretty small flat fee, because I don't have to go. I'm not driving to Texas. I'm not going to look at the property. I'm just really, clicking buttons on a computer is really what I'm doing. So honestly, for this, I would probably just I could charge him a flat, say $10,000, but I would probably charge him like $6,000, just a flat $6,000, because all I'm doing is, especially if he's already got a buyer, all I'm doing then is literally putting a purchase and sale agreement together, putting them in touch with the RMLO, and my job is done. And then I send my invoice to the title company. So don't get greedy here, but I'll show you what I do here. And somebody else is trying to call in as well, and let's see if they left a voicemail. Lee Coleman. 956. Well, actually, I had two people call.
Wow.
Which was unusual. Normally people, I don't say it never happens, but oftentimes when I send that text blast, sellers don't, call. They certainly have before, but it's not that common. So, and now I've got, let me see here. So they didn't see if they left a message. 270. Okay, got that. Get that. Moore's okay. So I'm gonna make note of these numbers real quickly here, guys. And then I'm gonna show you I'm gonna share my screen. Lee Coleman, owner of Advantage Way. Which house is that? Just one second. Was this a buyer? Oh, wait. Sorry, someone called me. I think it was I'll call him back. So I'm trying to get on my Lee Coleman. Sorry, and recent. I'm not going to see who just called me because if it's a phone call that y'all could learn something from, I want to call him back. Roy, or that's a Florida number. So someone in Tampa just got my text. So I'll call this other gentleman back here in a little bit. It's 23. I'm gonna have to pull that up. Okay, this was a seller from 23. I may call that seller back. I don't remember anything about this one. Again, if I get a call from somebody, I think it's something y'all can learn from. I want to call them and put them on speakerphone so y'all can hear it. But in the meantime, let me show you what I use here. All right, so I've got to put numbers together for this house. Let me screen share. Let me share my screen. Share that. So the house that that gentleman called about is right here. 1613 Bend Creek Drive in Cleburne. He's asking $675 for it. So now what I would do, I want to put seller finance numbers together. Normally I would raise the price of the house, but which I need to calculator.net. I go to calculator.net, go to mortgage calculator, and now what am I gonna do here? First of all, I'm gonna minimize this so that when I do this recording, you didn't see you all. So my calculator.net. Now I'm going to do this for seller financing. I would normally raise the price a little bit, but in this case, he's already. I assume he's already told the people 675. Now 20% down, and I can calculate this out here. 675, 123 times 0.2 is 135. And he had said 5%. So his P&I would be $28.99. So I'm going to do a Loom video here, and I'm going to email this to Uriah. Loom, come on, Loom. All right, there, Uriah. Just wanted to put a little video together here of a mortgage calculator about your property there on Bent Creek in Cleburne, and kind of play with some numbers and see what that may look like. Now, again, we structure these all the time, seller finance wrap notes all the time for individual sellers, for investors, et cetera. And our role in that capacity is one, kind of setting those numbers in the terms of the seller or the investor, and then packaging that up, marketing that property, those terms to buyers, and then getting all the documentation in place, the purchase and sale agreement, seller finance addendum, everything over to the title company, getting the buyer to the RMLO for underwriting. So we handle all that transaction coordinating on the back end. And so, again, playing with these numbers here, as far as you talked about what maybe if they put less money down, et cetera. So at 675, 20% down that you had mentioned, that's 135,000. At interest rate of 5%, that means their principal and interest to you every month is 28.98. Now, you had said your interest rate is like 2.75. Certainly, I don't know what you owe on the house, but that's what you want to look at, is to make sure that you're cash flowing really well on the principal and interest. When you do a wrap note, the buyer is going to be paying taxes and insurance. So you will not be paying taxes and insurance once you sell this property to this buyer or whomever. If you do a wrap note, the buyer takes care of taxes and insurance. So we're looking at principal and interest here. So again, and you can play with these numbers. Say they put 15% down as an example. And so you can play with these numbers to kind of see where that would put you. Where'd that put the monthly payment? Again, this does not include taxes and insurance. So you'd want to find out. We can find out from that potential buyer what they're comfortable with. Again, once when there's a buyer or potential buyer for one of our properties or for lease option, for seller finance, we get their information and send everything over to the mortgage loan originator. They'll underwrite them, look at debt to income and all of that. Again, we handle that back end work. But it's just like for your house, it's just we take care of everything. Even if we're doing marketing for it, it's just a flat fee of $6,000, which comes out of the down payment. So pretty minimal there. But anyway, I just want to send this to you real quickly, and let's maybe continue the conversation later today or tomorrow and kind of dial this in. But we can definitely have a conversation with your potential buyer, see what they're able to do as far as down payment, a monthly payment, and all of that. And then we can follow up and see if they're a viable fit for your house. All right, so I just put that video together. And now I'm going to email, copy link. I'm going to email. I'll make sure we're all here there. Yep, okay. I'm going to send that email to send. Okay. Email. So I'm just sending a quick email for uh 1613 Flint Creek. I'm going to read this to you. Oops. Look up for. All right, so I'm going to show you all this so you can see this email screen share. Okay. I made a quick Loom video to show you what the financing would look like. Come on, would look like. Look like for a potential buyer if you all decide to offer seller finance with a wrap note. Although Okay. Get rid of this. All right, so I'm just sending him a quick email here. And I'm sending that seller that email with the link to that Loom video that I just put together. So what's the next step? The next step is I'll probably text that seller later this afternoon, like after 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, see if he had a chance to check his emails, or just let him know, hey, I sent you an email today with a video, and see see how that conversation goes. So pretty darn easy there. And if he wants us to work with this potential buyer, then he'll put me in touch with the buyer. I will talk to that buyer to again, find out how much you have down, this and that, and then take it from there.
Can I ask a question, John?
Yeah.
So in that, and I think 6,000 sounds really fair for putting together something like that.
Yeah.
In that, would you basically also say, ask for first right of refusal if he ever decides to sell the note?
I don't.
Because we've done that, and we found that that's a good way to basically get your foot in the door if the guy decides that he wants to sell the note, and then of course we sell that note to a note investor or to paper stack.
Yeah.
So
No, you could certainly do that. I don't, most of it because most of the, unless it's an investor, the sellers we work with don't know what note selling is. They don't know. Does that make sense? They don't know anything about selling a note or what that encompasses. So so if we were to pursue that, there would be a matter of reaching out to the sellers every and saying, hey, if you ever decide to sell the note at a discount, let me know. But then we'd have to follow up with them every couple of years or whatever. So I don't do it, to be honest with you.
okay.
Yeah. All right. So so there's that one. Again, that one, we'll see what happens. He's offering potentially looking to offer it seller finance. Let me go back to our platform here, and I'll share a screen again. And okay, so I'm gonna refresh this. I'm gonna pull this screen back up. Here we go. Oops. Let me get rid of this. I don't need to see that. Okay. So here we got, was this Tarrant County? This is Tarrant County. We got, looking at seller right? No, it's sold. No, thanks. I don't know who that is. Is this available? We're looking, consider. Okay. So I'm going to, I think it's, let me minimize this. I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment because I'm going to, I think it's messing up as I try to minimize. Come on. Okay. So, all right, let me share again. So here we've got Tampa, Bear County, Johnson, and Tarrant. These are the ones I just sent text to. So we've got 6 people that have replied, 0 out of Johnson, which is that guy that just called us house in Cleaver. That's Johnson County. 13 people have responded in Bear County, 2 out of Tampa, which I misspelled Tampa. I'm going to refresh this. We got 4 out of Tampa, 15 out of Bear County, 8 out of Tarrant. So let's take a look here at, I'll just start with Tampa. And now I can view what are these replies. Now you're going to get different replies. You're going to say, no, hit the highway, piss off. Some people go, what does that look like? How does it work? And some people will only call the low-hanging fruit people that are curious. I say, if you can't call everybody, because once they reply, you got your foot in the door with them. So not interested. Yes, it's available. Call me when you have a minute. So I'll call this gentleman or person. Hi, John. I'm only accepting all cash offers. Okay. Depends on offer and down payment. Okay, great. So let's start with, now this is Tampa. So I've got a buyer there that I know is legit, that has money down, is looking at 800 to 800,000, 1.4, 1.5. And so he's legit. So that's the reason I'm doing this. This is kind of like what we were talking about earlier with looking for a house for somebody. I normally don't look for a house for somebody, but in this case, I know they're legit. So let's take a look here. Okay. So let me go back to here. And you're going to hear me make this a little bit bigger here.
Oh, this is Bob.
Hey, Bob, this is John Jackson. You and I were just texting a little bit about your house there on Adelia Avenue, there in Tampa. And so I wanted to reach out to you and talk to you a little bit about the property, then also kind of tell you what who I am, what we do, and why I'm reaching out to you. But which, by the way, I'm looking at the house right now. It's a beautiful home. Is it? I take it. Did you used to live there, or was this a remodel or something? It's a beautiful home.
No, I lived there since '96.
Oh,
I
wow.
bought the house. Yeah, we got flooded in 2024, so that the
Oh,
upstairs obviously was damaged and it needs work to get fixed up.
I see that now. Yeah, and what year was that? When did it get flooded?
2024, when we had the hurricane
Ah.
in Tampa.
Okay. All right. Okay. And did as far as the damage, how does that work with how's that looking with your insurance company in regards to a claim being filed or them fixing
Yeah,
it?
I've already settled with them.
Okay. All right. So so if that's the case, then you're selling the house as is with, again, I'm just going on the pictures that I'm seeing online. Are you just selling it as is with the repairs still need to be done? Is that correct?
Yeah, so here's the deal. The house was originally built in 1925. So I've been living there since '96, and the house needs a lot of upgrades, not related to the storm, just
Right.
it was just an old house. I mean, it's a beautiful home. And so, we were planning on upgrading the house and doing some of that. Then, of course, the storm came along and, got damaged. And we did all the demo. We demoed all the stuff, you're supposed to. And we had to throw a bunch of stuff out. And we continued to live there. And we had an architect design us a new home on that lot. So I've got all the plans, and that's ready to go for a permit. It's about 3,500 square foot. 4-bedroom, 5-bath home. So that was our plan. And then in the meantime, we realized we're going to have to go either rent a place or buy a place. It's going to take a year and a half to build a new house. And so we bought another house, and then we liked the house. So we're trying to figure out what to do with that property.
I see. Okay. Well, and I'm taking some notes here. Real quick, and I'll tell you a little bit about kind of what we've got going on and all of that. So, again, my name is John, and my company is Leasing to Buy, and what we specialize in is lease purchasing, where we help investors or sellers market their properties through other means, other channels such as a lease purchase or seller finance, etc. But and so investors and sellers reach out to us all the time to help them with their houses. In this particular case, I've got a buyer who lives in the Apollo Beach area, and he is looking for a property to buy seller finance somewhere between 800,000 to 1.4, maybe 1.5, and looking for a property for seller finance. They're around the Apollo Beach area. It doesn't have to be in Apollo Beach, but that area there in Hillsborough County. And we normally don't go out looking for properties for a prospective buyer. Normally we just have the inventory and, the buyers come to us and there you go. Kind of like a car lot. What you see is what you get, right? In this case, this gentleman is also looking to work with us on some potential investment properties he's looking to buy. So so now I'm going out looking at, reaching out to people that have properties that seem to fit at least that price range and geographical area that he's looking for, and see if there might be a fit there. And what I would do next is, we can discuss, what seller finance would look like, and see if this house would even be a fit for what he's looking for. Again, at this point, I'm really just kind of doing a little bit of a broader search, saying, okay, price range and area, and then take it from there. But with seller finance, he'd be putting a fair amount down, upwards of 15 to potentially 20% down. We create the note, you make the interest on it, so you're actually making more money on it than just selling it outright. But it doesn't mean it's a perfect fit for what you're looking for, but at least there's that opportunity. But what I would
are you normally getting?
So he's trying to. So it depends on the seller and the property. And in this particular case, this buyer is really trying to stay close to 5 to 5.25%, which is would be nowadays would be a pretty decent rate. But he's trying to stay around the 5 to 5.25%. But he's open to having a conversation. If we get down to that point,
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think for me to make something like that work, I would probably need about 50% down.
Okay.
And then interest at around 7%, and then
okay,
amortized over 30 years,
yep.
and then balloon it like 5 years.
Okay.
So I don't know if that works, that kind of math, but the idea is that, because I've had people talk to me about the house, and obviously the house needs. I think if you go to get regular financing for the house, regular mortgage, it's probably not going to appraise.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you put some money into it, when I say some money, I'm thinking 200,000. I think it'll appraise, or 1.2, 1.3 million at that. So if you get in there and you do the work, or you have subcontractors come in and fix it up, and then you stay there for a few years, you'll be able to get a conventional mortgage. So I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
What I'll do is, and I'm so sorry, what was your names? What I'll do is and you said, I just want to recap here. Again, if this would be something that might work out, might be a fit, you'd be looking at, I think, did you say 50% down, 50?
Yeah.
Okay,
50% down.
7% interest, 5-year balloon.
Right.
Okay. All right.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, and because I had some builders, when I say builders, contractors, call me, and of course, they're looking to get into it for as little money as possible, right?
Right.
But they're either gonna flip it short term, or one of them said they were gonna live there. So I don't know, but that way it gets them in there without having. I mean, that's a pretty big down payment, obviously.
Yeah.
If the house is worth 1.2, then maybe it's worth it, but I don't know. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let me. I'm gonna take this information and get follow up with Matthew. Matthew's the buyer, and if he at least raises an eyebrow and potential interest, then then we can kind of continue the conversation from there. Or if he says, hey, I like the house location, but let's really let's see if we can adjust those numbers again. Follow up with you and take it from there. But I'll reach out to. I'm going to put this together and send this to him probably this afternoon, and then I'll keep you posted. I'll reach back out to you if it's something he wants to have a little deeper conversation on. Okay, Bob?
All right, sounds good.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Let's talk about that a little bit here. I want to, where did everybody go? I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. Kind of answer any questions you have. So in that case, I've got a buyer. Like I said, I've got a solid buyer. I know he's got the money. He lives in the Tampa area, lives in Apollo Beach, looking for a house for himself. He's also looking for, potentially properties for seller finance to buy as investments. But I know he's solid in this and that. So in that case, he's sent me, I don't know, 2 or 3 different properties, and reached out to the agent or the individual seller, and they want to either wouldn't fly, didn't want to move forward on it, or the seller wanted some ridiculous terms, kind of like this, 50% down. But anyway, so but having said all that, what I want to focus on more than that is really the conversation, the flow of the conversation. Uh, as you can tell, I wasn't any seller I talk to. I don't try to force any strategy down their throat. As you all know, you've probably heard me say a lot. I'm the real estate doctor. Hey, I'm here to help. Let's talk about the situation, the house, this and that. See if might be able to help you. In this case, the house has some damage from the hurricane that I guess he got paid from insurance, but didn't put that back into the house. But so I just to explain that I've got a buyer looking for seller finance, etc. But as I talk to any seller, I don't try to convince them, oh, you got to do a lease option, whatever. I actually try not to go into too much detail on either strategy. Just like the other seller, Uriah, his house in Cleburne that I sent that email to just a little bit ago, I didn't go into great detail about, well, here's the documentation. Here's how we set the terms, and here's the documentation. And then we send this to RMLO, and here's what they do. Then it goes to, I'm not worried about all those details right now. It's just getting them some basic information. So really keeping it simple. So I made a note here on my notepad. I'll reach out to Matthew. Matthew's not going to go for that. He's going to put 50. He's not putting 50% down on a house that needs work, or 7% interest. But at least I'll let him know so he knows that I'm, working it for him. So I want to. So let's go back here a second. And by the way, guys, if you'll have a question on any of this as I go through this, let me know. Just unmute yourself. I'm going to call this other. Let's see here. And I'm gonna call that. Oh, I love St. Petersburg. Let's take a look here. Depends on the offer and down payment. This one's in the Florida area. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna call this seller. And again, these houses may or might not even be a fit. My buyer might not even like them. That's fine, but I'm just having a quick conversation with sellers. Now, something else I could do is I could take these links and send these to the buyer. Say, hey, here's these 2, 3, 4, 5 houses that replied positively. Would you be interested in any of these before I call the seller? But I'm calling the seller now, or sellers now, just because they've replied. I sent a text, they replied, it's top of mind. If I wait 3 or 4 days to call them back, they're gonna, they may not, realize, may not connect the dots. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this seller. 231.
No.
Hi there. My name's John, and you and I just texted a little bit about the house you have there in Newport Richie on Trident Terrace.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to give you a quick call, just reach out to you real quickly, and kind of talk to you about the property as well as the person I'm working with, what they're looking for, see if there may possibly be a fit there that could help you all, as well as the buyer that we have. So again, my name is John, and my company is Leasing to Buy, and
No, we're not. No.
yeah, but I have a client. I have someone that's looking to try to get a house seller finance, and so that's why I was reaching out. Sent the text trying to find a property that may be a fit for seller finance, where you're going to make more money. You don't pay a commission, but just trying to find him a property between in that $1 million price range, and seeing what might be available out there where the seller would be open to doing seller finance. Yeah.
My guess is that the down payment wouldn't be enough. The monthly payment wouldn't be enough. and it's just not going to work.
Sure. And certainly I don't certainly know that. Um, uh, with a $1 million 59 on the price tag, do you know what kind of down payment you'd be looking for? Because I believe he'd be looking probably at putting 15% down or so. So pretty substantial.
If you want to do that, we need at least half.
50%? Okay. All right. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and that probably wouldn't be a fit, but I just wanted to reach out to you and kind of see if it may be a fit because you never know. So I will keep looking for him and see what we can find in that area. So anyway, love that location though, right there on the canal. So great,
Yeah,
great
location.
Yeah, I love that. How come y'all are selling the house? With such a great location. Did y'all?
That's retiring
Oh, real?
and going north.
I was gonna say most people move to Florida to retire. You're in Florida, moving somewhere else for retirement. Okay, yep. I got you. All right. Well, thank you for the conversation, and we will keep looking.
Okay, thank you.
Take care. Bye bye. All right. So, again, I'm not gonna waste a bunch of time. They're just seeing if they're open to it, and I'm gonna. Did I just see Will? Let me go back here. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see who's in the room. I think I just saw Will.
Yeah, Will Pritchett just joined us.
Do we not have any filters on
Hey
Zoom?
there, John. They let anybody in on this call.
Yeah, I thought we had some sort of process and procedures in place. Did you move to Colorado?
I did. Yeah, we're still unboxing over here, but I saw you were on this call, and I was like, I gotta check him out for a second while in between things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good to see you.
Man, thanks for joining us. Yeah, we've just been hanging out for an hour telling dirty jokes and all that,
Cool.
pretty much what you'd expect on one of my calls. But let me give a super quick background on you. So guys, Will just moved to Colorado from the San Antonio area, and that's where he and I think met actually for the first time at your fire meetup. So Will was a fireman, and then got into real estate, and he started this meetup down there. Great little meetup, and so we got to meet down there while I was still down there. And but then I saw on. I've been off Facebook for over a month, and I hopped back on, and the biggest story, the biggest shocking story in the world is that Will moved to Colorado, and I thought, what? Wait a minute, is he really moving to Colorado? So glad to have you on here, sir.
Thank you. Where are you now? Are you not in San Antonio, John?
No, I'm on the run. I cannot disclose my location at this current time. I'm actually in Lake of the Ozarks. Matter of fact, the lake is right down there.
Nice.
Yeah, so I can just anytime I want to get bit by mosquitoes, I just walk outside and they're all over me. I've got bites all over me. But yeah, it's beautiful in the evening, especially to walk down to the dock and see all the lights and everything. But so I'm in Lake of the Ozarks for right now, and yeah, just enjoying it here, sir. What area of Colorado did you move to?
We're in Southwest Colorado, Durango specifically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I've been, was it Durango? So it's Durango, no, Silverton. Is it Durango or Silverton that has the ski resort? Durango.
It's closer to Durango, but it's kind of between the two. Yeah, you're right, both ways. Silverton has a real like backcountry skiing environment, and so that's more for like advanced skiers. But like the big resort Purgatory is kind of in between them, closer to Durango though.
That's it, Purgatory. Yeah. I've been up there in many years, so that specific area of Colorado. So, so tell everybody a little bit about kind of your short history, or not short history, but it's a synopsis of you in real estate and all that.
Yeah, sure. So my wife Veronica and I got married 15 years ago, and I had a bachelor pad, and she was selling a house, and I was like, and then we were going to buy a new house, and I said, I've always been interested in real estate. What do you think about us turning this into a rental property? My stepson was 4, and I said, by the time he goes to college, this house I think could pay for his college. And she was on board. Well, at the time I was a firefighter and would be for another, I don't know, dozen years. And we just thought it was one thing to supplement college savings and maybe retirement. And then we kind of got the bug. And a couple of years later, we bought a second one and then learned about private money and creative strategies and built a portfolio. So I was able to leave my career at 43 years old, which was not anything I ever envisioned, but it was all because of real estate. So I'm pretty passionate about it. These days, I love sharing it as much as I love, doing real estate. I like teaching it and so forth. We have a rental portfolio down in San Antonio that we'll continue to maintain and manage. And then we do some private lending. And so, yeah, real estate changed our lives dramatically. And so that's why I'm such a fan of like sharing the message, and learning more. Like I don't know anything about lease options. That's why I'm here because I've been offered a lease option to purchase a property I have. And so all you hear is lease options illegal and people don't dig deeper. And so this is part of me digging deeper. You can always learn more.
Yeah. Well, so a lot to unpack there, but let's talk a little bit. I'm gonna down specifically. I assume that you're the lease option or the potential buyer for the lease option is on a property in Texas.
That's right. Investment property in Texas. Yep.
Okay, so let's take a look here, and let's do some real numbers here. I'm going to do a little screen share here, and let's put this together. And so let me pull this up. What's the property address, Will?
Yeah, let me find my spreadsheet here real quick. 7110 Glen, Glen Terrace, Terrace. It's a triplex.
Okay. So, oops. Come on, drive San Antonio. Which I didn't put enough. There we go. So let's talk about this. Okay. So
There it is.
Okay, so that's the property. So are you so it's a triplex, but you can see two of the doors there. I assume there's another door in the back somewhere, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's potential. Where'd it go here? Let me pull it back up. Come on. There we go. Okay. So this this property, is this buyer looking to buy it as an investment and then cash flow it, or what does that look like from this buyer perspective?
That's what it seems like is to buy it and cash flow it, just hold it as a long-term rental.
Okay.
It looks much better than this right now. I went on an exchangers meeting and just threw it out there, an exchangers meeting in another state, and then someone followed up with me, and this is one of the structures they mentioned.
Okay. And so did you all start to even discuss a little bit about what that might look like?
Yeah, so I I had thrown the price out of $300,000. It's in much better condition, by the way, now on the exterior, but nonetheless, I put it in there at 300. Total monthly rents are 3,095. So it was a gross rent multiplier, more than 100 or less than 100. So I thought it was, a ballpark price. It's very difficult to comp. So when he asked me how much cash would I like to get, I just threw out 20%. I'd like 20%. And my thought when negotiating is, rather than say no, say something that might work and then go from there, one step at a time. So very, very early in negotiations, I threw out 20%. That would be $60,000 down. As an option, I guess that would be the option fee that would apply. And if I'm understanding this right, and correct me if this doesn't make sense to you, but I thought of that as a $60,000 option fee towards the purchase at $300,000. I told him I wouldn't want to do that lease for, I wouldn't want that option to be 10 years out. I'd want it to be a year or two out where to exercise the option to buy it. Reason being, I do have $200,000 of private money on it. My private lenders are happy to be wrapped for a period of time, but I don't think they'd be comfortable for 10 or 15 years.
Okay, let's take a look at this. I'm going to do uh, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second here, and I want to dive in. I want to pull up a Word document here. This is great stuff, guys. I'm really glad that you got on this call. And let's I'm going to pull up a Word document here. Share. Okay, so let's take a look here, and let me see if I can minimize this. Let me minimize some screens here. Come on, hold on here. Come on. Okay, I can see. Okay, you can see my screen, right, Will?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I just took some. I'm just right. So, so we're looking at what you discussed with this potential buyer is option B. I'm sorry, option price 300,000, right?
Yeah, I guess is that the sale price essentially? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the price. Yeah, sales price. Option fee. This computer's hot. I'm gonna have to go inside in a second. Option fee. You had discussed, was it 60? Was it 20%?
Yes.
There, okay.
20% is what we
Okay.
put out there.
And then on the monthly, what did you all discuss what that would look like?
No, we didn't get that far. I can tell you that for my private money, the at 10%, that's should be about 1,700, I believe. No, 1666.67 is my monthly to my interest only private loan. 1666.67.
Okay. And then let me percent. Okay, and how much is your so that's principal and interest, unless it's interest.
Technically technically just interest, but yeah, same thing.
Okay, so yeah.
My taxes are 490 a month, and insurance is 154 a month.
Okay, let's for tax for how much, Will?
490.
Okay, and insurance?
154. That should be about 644 total escrows.
Okay. I'm rounding up a little bit here, so
yeah, sure.
So you're looking at 1666 plus you're looking at about a total is 2320. Okay. And so you've got 1666 interest only, 654 escrow. Now, so that's kind of what's underlying. There's that. Now you've got your option price of 300,000, or what you all discussed. Okay, so at 300,000, 60,000 down. What you want to look at here is obviously what that monthly payment is, because those payments are going to come directly to you or your company, and you've still got to pay this, right? So you got to make sure this is covered. But so before we do that, let's take a look at was that a eightplex? Was that I'm sorry,
triplex? Yeah. So I've got total monthly rents of 3,095 gross income.
Oops. And then let's take a look at net. Do you pay utilities, water, electric, anything like that?
Not electricity, but water we do. And this is a fairly new building to us, so we're estimating $200 a month for water. And trash at $115 per month, and lawn at $80 per month.
Okay, so let me go back here. So I've got water, trash, and lawn, which is interesting because Bear County is the first place I've ever heard of where they do trash and water separately.
In some areas, it's weird. Sometimes they're together and sometimes they're not. It's really weird.
And is it fully occupied?
As of yesterday, yes.
Okay. Okay, so I've got, and so you can see this document, and again, I'm using some round numbers, but I want to see if we're pretty close here, Will. I've got the underlying here, 200K PML, 10%, I'm sorry, interest only, about 1666, escrow 654. So your total, as we call it in the business, your monthly nut is 2320, using those numbers. Coming down here, your gross, assuming it's fully occupied there, is 3095 minus water, trash, lawn. You're looking at 2700 net before you're underlying an escrow, obviously. So if that looks accurate, then you're looking at, so I'm going to put this 380 a month net approximately. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, those numbers look about right. Yeah.
Okay. So now, this is what we're dealing with or addressing right now is this top part and this bottom part. Here's underlying, here's what we're bringing in. So now let's take a look at this potential buyer coming in and buying this on a lease option. Well, obviously the numbers have to work for this potential investor, right? They don't want to be losing money every month. And so with a lease option, Will, there's no amortization as like there is with seller finance. So there's pros and cons to seller finance, or pros and cons of lease option. It just depends on what the goal is that you're trying to achieve, that each person's trying to achieve, right? And so with the lease option, if you go with 300,000, 60,000 down, well, what's that monthly going to be? Well, keep in mind on the lease option, you're still paying tax, you're still paying escrow, right? You're still because the title doesn't change hands with a lease option.
Right.
Well, so you're still on title. Will LLC is still on title. So you're still responsible for escrow, just like if there was an HOA, which there isn't, but if there's an HOA, you're still responsible for that. And so you want to be aware of that. So in other words, you've still got that, you've got to have that monthly down there, even with 60,000 down, you've got to have that monthly so that ideally you're covering your outgo every month. Now you could, maybe you could structure where you're losing, a couple $100 a month, but it's a 2-year option as an example, right? But now this buyer's not making any money, really not, he's not making any money per month.
Right.
Okay. So the lease option may not be the best structure for this. Was it the buyer that had kind of dropped the suggestion maybe of a lease option?
It was. I would be much more familiar with seller financing, a down payment, and then we structure a wrap around my private money and go down the road.
Yeah, and that would be a little bit cleaner with this property because it's not considered multifamily because it's not more than 4 units. But did you say this was 3 units, a triplex?
It was, yep.
Okay. So with seller finance, obviously he gets the deed, he's paying taxes and insurance. He's in charge of collecting those rents. Someone doesn't pay, it's on him, right? So I would honestly say seller finance would be better in a case like this. There's really not a benefit to the buyer to do a lease option. The only benefit to you in this case as a seller is if he defaults, but you still have to, with a lease option. Well, this wouldn't be for residential. So he wouldn't be owner occupied. Sorry, I'm talking out loud, Will. There's really not a benefit to either party to do the lease option versus seller finance. I mean, if you were to go absolute extreme train wreck scenario, if you did the lease option and God forbid something happened to the buyer, you tried to he couldn't file bankruptcy and stop anything. It doesn't affect you at all because the title hasn't transferred. I mean, that's it's an absolute extreme train wreck scenario, right?
Right.
So now, if it could be a little different if he was looking to occupy one of the units, and you all want to structure a lease option that way, that that might make a little more sense. But if he's looking to buy as an investment property, um, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do the do the lease option. But let's take a look at this, Will. Let me pull up the amortization table, and I'm gonna share screen here. Where'd I go? Where'd I go? Share screen. Let's take a look at this, which you've probably already done, but let's take a look at 300,000. He was talking about putting 60,000 down. And your interest rate's at 10% at two, I think it was two, let me go back here, 200,000. So let's play with these numbers here, Will. 300,000, 60,000 down. Let's just go with 5%. Just start here and see what that looks like. So, okay, so your principal interest is, he'd be paying you 1288. I'm sorry, I'm having to move this around. 1288. So that's not going to fly. So he's going to have to, he'd either have to lower this down payment, well, lower the down payment and or increase the interest rate substantially. Let's see what 7.5 looks like. So you're still not even covering your monthly care. And again, I'm just playing with the numbers here. Let's just try 1, 2, 3. Now we're starting to get there. So, and going back here, you had a 200,000, 1666 a month plus taxes. Okay. So your interest only is at 1666. So our goal is to cover that. Our first goal on seller finance is to cover that monthly nut. So here at 300,000, 20,000 down, 7.5% interest, your cash flowing, call it $300 a month. Okay, pretty close to that, give or take a little bit. So now you can play with these numbers and say, okay, well, do I want to get more money down? Because if you get more money down, say 60,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, this monthly payment goes down each month. So now your cash flow goes down unless you raise the interest rate, which may make it unattractive to him. Okay. So these are numbers you want to play with, kind of see where that would work for you and for this potential buyer.
Right.
And then, so again, I use calculator.net. There's 1,000 mortgage calculators out there, but you can kind of see, we're playing with the numbers the same way I would with any seller or investors playing with these numbers. How are we going to market this property? Now, obviously with seller finance, he's going to be paying taxes and insurance. So in this hypothetical case, you'd be cash flowing almost $300 a month, not having to worry about taxes. Tax and insurance, water, trash, and all of that. That's on him. So given this scenario, he would be putting, using these numbers, he put 20,000 down. He'd be making, he'd be gross about 300 a month, which really he'd only be grossing about $80 a month because he's got to pay water, trash, and lawn, right? And taxes. So not there again. It's not really super attractive to a buyer. But he may not care, right? But this is how I would play with the numbers. And, again, this obviously requires a conversation with the potential buyer. Say, okay, well, I play with some numbers. I think, the seller finance would be better from a structure standpoint. But, we got to see how these numbers have to look to work for you,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what type of sellers do you find that benefit from a lease option? Who's your avatar seller for that?
Yeah, great question.
And
yeah, who benefit from a seller standpoint? standpoint, who benefits from the lease option? Which, by the way, while we were talking, some sellers reached out to me from San Antonio that I need to follow up with, hopefully on this call. And y'all can hear that. But who benefits from what does that avatar look like from the seller that benefits from a lease option, particularly 1-year lease option? It's someone that has a nice house, move-in ready. And it doesn't matter to me if they have equity or not, but it certainly benefits the seller that has little equity, right? That can't take a price decrease and pay commission on both sides, and this and that. So it benefits someone that nice house, move-in ready, maybe they've got low equity, and the house is just sitting there, and it's been sitting there for 30 days. It's been sitting there for 60 days. And they've dropped the price, and they can't drop it anymore because they can't come to the table with money. Okay. That's who it benefits. If the house needs repair, like if you came to me with this triplex, Will, and said, hey, I've got this investment property I want to sell. I want to sell on a lease option. I would take 2 seconds to look at it and say, I can't help you with this on a lease option. Why? Because of who we are, what kind of property we're looking for a lease option. Now you can lease option a trailer. I don't care. But to fit our model, it's really got to be a nice move-in ready house. Doesn't mean it has to have, granite countertops and this and that, but it can't be a handyman special. Right? It can't have window air conditioning units. It can't have, that type of thing. It's got to be nice move-in ready. Again, you can lease option whatever you want, but to really fit our model, we like nice move-in ready houses.
And you're going to then rent it to someone else?
Yeah. So what we do is we structure the lease option. So let me pull up our site here. And I'm just going to pull this up and oops. Let me pull this up here. This will give me something kind of tangible, Will. So here is that one's Phillips. I'm just gonna I'm gonna grab a house. Where's this? Here's one in San Antonio. So here's one that my student's got under contract for lease option. He's marketing. And so I don't know. I certainly don't know the story behind the house. If it was for sale by owner for a while, expired listing, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But the point is the seller had probably tried to sell it for a while, wasn't selling, wasn't moving. And through our marketing channels, my student Ty Sherwood had communicated with the seller, structured a lease option, and now is marketing it. But what we do is we'll package up that lease option with the terms in it, the option price, the option fee, the monthly, and all of that. And then we go to work marketing that. Those terms, what the buyer says, I'm sorry, once the seller says, yes, that looks great, then we sign the documents, pull that together, then boom, we're off to the marketing races. So you can almost think of us as a marketing company, not so much a real estate company, because now we're marketing that lease option or that seller finance to the end buyer. In this case, we're marketing this house in San Antonio, or Ty is, to a buyer looking for a house in San Antonio that has, $11,700 down, $2,100 a month. That's a great house for $2,100. And so that's what we do, Will, is we structure the terms with the investor or the seller, package it up and market that through our website and other channels as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how do you overcome I know you get this all the time, but lease options are illegal in Texas. How do you work around that, or what is the rule on
so
that?
there's let me see here if I can let me look for something here on my laptop that I can drop in chat box. You know what? That was Texas. Texas lease option. Okay, here's this. So I'm gonna put. Oh, that's not in Google. Well, hold on just a second. Well, I'm gonna look for a. I'm gonna put a link in the chat box, Will.
Okay.
To, this is gonna be. An older video. I don't know how old this video is. Doesn't matter because the information hasn't changed. Those of you living in. Okay. So I'm going to put a link to this in the chat box. This is a video, a training I did on Texas lease options. And it goes back to the tornado that hit Fort Worth in 2001. 2000? It's about 24 minutes long, Will. But I try to make it not too boring. But so I just put in the chat box if you or anybody want to grab this. Just a video.
Gotcha.
But the bullet points of Texas are if it's over 180 days long, you have to have certain disclosures in your documents, certain verbiage in your documents. The buyer has to be able to see if there's an underlying mortgage. The buyer has to be able to see and verify those payments are being made. It's really about protecting the buyer, And there's I think 5, 6 sections of Texas property code that specifically apply to a lease option. But people confuse it with a contract for deed, which it's not a contract for deed. A big difference.
Okay.
But yeah.
And that's mainly for owner occupied, right? If you were doing this on a investment property to an investor,
Yes, exactly.
Does not apply. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say you did a lease option on this triplex to this investor. Well, you're not talking about owner occupied property. Yeah.
Okay. How about straight pure options? You ever use those? I just want to buy an option on this property.
So you certainly can. Now there's a straight lease, there's an option, just a straight option like there is on the stock market, right? You can think of it as a call option if you ever trade options. You could certainly, buy an option. It'd be almost the same as a first right of refusal, but you can buy an option on a property. There's a straight lease option, which is where, let's say you did a lease option on one of the properties that you own. That's a straight lease option between you and the seller. I mean, you and the buyer. I'm not involved in it, right? But you could certainly do an option on a property. Or you're tying it up, or you've got the first right of refusal. If you did that, whether you were doing a lease option on a property for yourself as the buyer, or if you were doing an option on a piece of property, say a piece of commercial property or a house or whatever, where you just were tying up with an option, you'd want to file that memorandum of option with the county to secure your position.
Right. Okay. Yeah. This is great information that you're sharing. Really enjoy it.
And lease options are actually probably more common with commercial properties where someone's got say as an example, they've got an air conditioning company, some sort of HVAC company, and they're leasing essentially a flex space bay, maybe, but they want the option to buy maybe the flex space development or whatever the case may be, or that building. They may put together a lease with the option to purchase it on that bay, on that flex space. You can also see it on agriculture. Or with land, I should say. Maybe someone's raising cattle. And, a lot of people don't realize this, but a lot of times you see cattle out in a field, and whoever owns the cattle may not be the person who owns the land, right? That cattle raiser may be leasing the property from whoever owns that land. But they could get it secured with a lease with the option to buy that land.
Now, I'm selling my personal residence in San Antonio. I hadn't even thought about lease optioning it as a sale, but just off the top of we don't have to go through all the numbers, but it's a $750,000 house on about 11 acres, ag exempt. Does not make any sense as a rental in any way. Has a huge shop, office, apartment. is there any world in which that helps a buyer?
Yeah, so what I do, and this is a great information, a great question, is and I just giving you all a heads up. You may see me move locations here in a second because my battery is dwindling, so I may have to go inside and go downstairs. But this is great question. So you've got a house, you have a property in San Antonio, 750,000. It's zoned ag. What does that mean, guys, when he says zoned ag? Zoned agricultural.
I know.
Mhm.
Uh, um, which I'll come back to that in a second, but he's saying it's zoned ag. And it's got how many acres?
11.
11 acres. So, and we could actually, I mean, might
Hey,
as well.
Will, what were you renting on it for
I'm
the ag?
sorry.
What were you renting on it for the ag exemption?
So this is an interesting property also. It's actually 10.9 acres. So normally in Bear County, it needs to be 11, one for the house and 10 for the cows.
Right.
What we did is the seller to us owned the surrounding property. They we did a lease with them where they could run their cattle on our land. And
Ah,
with that lease,
Okay.
we were able to maintain the ag exemption that was there before and had the inspector come out and look at it and had them on the property long enough to poop on the property and eat some hay and such, and then they were that was enough to continue the ag exemption into the future. So that's how we got it on a what's normally a little too small to be an ag exempt property.
Okay. All
so,
right.
so let's recap that again, sort of changing locations. Let's recap that again just a second, Will. So you bought this property. Did you get and the person you're buying it or bought it from had cattle, is that correct?
Correct.
And so you bought it. Did you buy it with a VA I'm sorry, with the USDA loan, but seller finance, or how did you all buy it?
No, we just went conventional on it. It was going to be it was our primary residence for a little over a year, so we just went conventional.
Okay. Okay. So you bought it conventional. So now you all own it, but the seller had cattle and now he's leasing the land from you, correct? To run his cattle.
Correct.
Okay. So
Mhm.
so what I was just talking about, guys, where someone's leasing has cattle, but when you see cattle out there, they may not own the land, they own the cattle, they're leasing the land from. This is exactly what's happening here. So now, in this case, the whoever owned the cattle, they're not going to suggest to do a lease option on the land from Will because he just bought that. Not to say just, but he owns because just because of the situation. Now that that because he already sold the property to you, he probably didn't want to buy the property back. I'm guessing,
Right.
but let's take a quick look at this, and I'm tell you kind of how I would structure it. What's the property address?
7015 New Sulphur Springs Road. Let's see, 70. It's Sulphur.
Come on, hold on here. Come on. So let me see this one. Sulfur.
I'm sorry, 7315. I don't know if I said that. 7315 New Sulphur Springs Road.
Oh, 7315.
Yeah, I said it wrong.
Okay. 715. Let's just see if this pops up here. Okay, so I'm gonna screen share here and then I want to talk about how I would structure this from a marketing perspective, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna share a screen here. Let's take a look here. Okay, so one of the things, so let's assume I didn't know you, Will, and you said, "Hey, I've got this property. What do you think?" Well, just if I knew already, what you told me, the price point and the acreage, I'm saying seller finance, and I'll tell you why in a second. But now I look at this on the map. I do a quick look at the map, uh, and I'm like, okay, and I'm backing this up here. Boom, 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 and it is. I'm just doing a quick look here. Oh, it's down there. Okay. So it's on the west side. Anyway, so I'm just gonna quick look at where it is. It's actually not far from 67. But let's take a look at this. Okay. All right, so here is this. All right, I'm gonna so what and I'm gonna do this real quickly, Will. I'm gonna go in that room that has a potty. I'm gonna empty my bladder. I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah,
But let's talk about
sure,
how to structure this. Hold on just a moment here.
sure.
Okay, well, he's gone. I'm going to step in. What he's going to
Yeah.
suggest is seller finance. Now, then, as from
Mm-hmm.
marketing, from a marketing point of view, I would recommend marketing it in various agricultural type Facebook groups, horse people,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Because there's horse people all the time looking for a place for their horses, acreage.
That's what we bought it for exactly, Jeanette.
Yep, yep. And then if there's any cow type uh, Facebook groups, did you
Mm-hmm.
ever, was that property ever used for hay?
No, we actually cleared a bunch of it. Most of it was scrub brush, and we cleared a bunch, so it could be planted. We did not plant it though.
Okay, all right. Um, but those are the type of groups, somebody who would be looking for land of
Mm-hmm.
that kind, something horses, cows, farm, some sort of farming.
Right.
Because as you and
And
I
would you
both,
just,
yeah, whoever the buyer is really, really needs to be someone who needs that space for
mm-hmm.
something agricultural, because as you probably know, if it is sold to someone who just wants to be away from neighbors and not using
Mm-hmm.
that land, they're going to lose the ag exemption. And then the
Mm-hmm.
next buyer is going to have to start from scratch.
Right. That's true. And I think it, I think a few benefits of this particular property is the proximity to town. So for someone that wants to have horses and animals but wants to be 20 minutes from downtown, that's
Hmm.
kind of, but if you want to live way out in the boonies, this isn't your property because you still are within, not too far from town. So that could be a pro or a con. For us, it was a pro because we had a lot of things going on in San Antonio. Um, so would you just share like that Zillow link and then a little something like, we willing to consider seller financing, consider creative structures in those horse groups and ag groups?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now,
right. Exactly.
if we were marketing it, that's exactly what we would do. We would, of course, have it posted on our Facebook page, our individual Facebook pages, and all the San Antonio and Bexar County seller finance type groups. But then I would also start looking for Bexar County and San Antonio expo groups and barrel racer groups and
Hmm.
high school rodeo and college rodeo, all those types of groups.
That's great. Great thinking. Yeah, and I think the seller finance could help somebody, even somebody that has good credit. If they've got a house they've got to sell, but they've got some cash and they could fund this seller
Mhm.
finance until they sell their house, and then they could go get bank financing or something like that. We had one person approach us, and we structured it with a payment that was, so we put a balloon in the payment, which I know is risky with owner occupied, but we put I think it was an 18-month balloon, knowing that it may not be enforceable. But we made the payments such that if they continued to pay it, we wouldn't be mad. Like we'd be on a wrap and we would be okay with that payment if it went on into perpetuity. And so that's kind of the way I was looking at it, is consider a seller financing structure that would be a win for somebody that needs to offload another property or really wants this one. Um, I'd rather not carry it out 30 years, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. If they brought me 20% down, I probably would.
Yeah. So what I would do is look, yeah, like Johnny said, look to offer this seller finance because again, when a seller contacts us, I look at it from the marketing perspective. Who's my avatar buyer? Who am I marketing to? And are they going to prefer lease option or seller finance? If we get a property that has something unique about like land like this, or really above well, for most areas in Texas anyway, if we get a house that's over 650,000 ish, then I start to look at seller finance. Why? Because the buyer pool's bigger for seller finance above 650. Seller finance in the old days used to be just considered seller finance was for mobile homes or cheap houses to Hispanics or whatever. Well, now
Right.
we really see two areas where seller finance is well, seller finance in general has gotten more and more popular, but in particular, if we look at houses below, in general, say 225, 200,000, but above in our 600, 650,000, you start to get more people looking for seller finance there. So this house it's at 750. It's got the 14 acres. It's got the land there. It's outside of San Antonio, not far, but it's outside of San Antonio. This just reeks of seller finance. And so what you want to know is you would put like if you came to us to tell you I want you to market this property, we put the terms together with you and say, okay, well, let's look at these numbers, let's play with them, get them dialed into where you want them, and say as an example, what was it 759? So as an example, if you were to come to us and say, hey, John, I want y'all to market this seller finance. First thing we do is put this amortization together. You got a 759. We always raise the price. I don't get too techie on too involved on that for the purpose of this conversation. But let's call it 760,000. Let's say we play with the numbers. Let's say we put it at say 50,000 down. If you were just a seller, if a seller just came to me with this property, again, I'd tweak these numbers and play with them, and our fee on this would probably be $15,000. It comes out of the down payment, but for the purpose of this conversation, we'll 760,000, 50,000 down. Because the price point, you can't go too high on the interest rate because the payment gets out of whack, right? So let's just start off with
Right.
say 6%. And that puts their P&I coming to you every month at 42.56 a month, right? And so now you can
Mhm.
play with these numbers and say, okay, where am I comfortable? Where are we comfortable with on these terms? And you want to look at see what you own the property, what your monthly P&I is, and if you have mortgage insurance premium, if there's a premium on there. So you want to add up all that. You're not too worried about taxes and insurance at that point. You're just trying to make sure you're covered. And then once you all, and let's go with this as an example. Let's see, all say, okay, yeah, we could do this, and say, okay, with this, we're cash flowing whatever. We're cash flowing 1,000 a month or whatever that is. But you're okay with this. Now you put that together, that ad, your marketing to show seller finance, no banks needed, country living, close to the city, 14 acres or whatever it was. And now you put the terms in that ad because people want to know. I wouldn't put in don't put in generalities like 760,000 down payment negotiable, sizable down payment required,
Mm.
whatever. People want to know. Just like when you go to a car lot, if you go to a car lot with used cars, what's frustrating is you walk up to the car and none of them have prices on them. Like, just tell me what the price, you know?
Right.
With this is you're going to put in the ad, what, you want to start off with, seller finance available, no banks needed, 14 acres or whatever it was, outside of San Antonio. And then you put the terms in there, the price, 760 down, 50,000. Interest rate or monthly payment, whatever it was. I said 4,200 interest rate, 42.56 plus taxes and insurance of whatever. Interest rate 6%. 30-year amortization. If you're gonna put a balloon on there, then put in there, a 5-year balloon, 60-month balloon or 7-year balloon or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah. And put all
Yeah.
that.
No, that makes sense. So in these higher price points, would you expect to be able to get people to come with would 50,000 be what you would expect them to be able to come up with at this price point?
Yeah, so on our lease options, we normally get about 5% down, ish, maybe a little bit less. So I'll call it 4.5%, 5% down. On seller finance, we try to get closer to 10% down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the perfect world of real estate, you could get 20% down, but that's what are the odds of that happening? You know, I always joke, you know, if it's like, I don't think you're on the call. I talked to 2 sellers a day in Florida and they wanted 50% down. And the last one I almost told her, well, I want a full head of hair. You know, it ain't happening. Uh, and uh but I would, you know, so you know, what typically happens, Will, is we market a property, say we're marketing this one, 760,000, 50,000 down. It's pretty common, particularly on the lower price houses, where you get a potential seller buyer calling, and you tell them the terms, okay, it's this, and this, and they go, okay, what if I put more money down? Then you can cross that bridge when you get to that point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I appreciate that. I like thinking of creative solutions. We're not highly super motivated, but I think I'll, targeting my avatar buyer, that's super, I mean, that's
Well,
very
yeah,
smart.
I'm gonna make a note here. Just a second here, Will. I know I've got your number on my phone, but just so I have it on my
Yeah.
okay, what's your number?
210
Yeah.
210-872-5504.
Okay, and what's your I'll probably text you, but what's your email, Will?
It's Will at homeagainproperties, plural, .net.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll we can connect offline here. I can say, okay, here's, if we were to market this, if you just came to us and said, hey John, I got this house, blah blah blah, how would we structure that? What does that look like? And then if you want us to help market it, certainly happy to do that. For, I would just, the way let me talk about this, because I started to touch on this earlier in the call, I think before you came on, but didn't dive into that. So on the lease option, guys, on the assignment, kitchen table closing, we're paid the option fee, then whatever we'd agreed to pay the owner, then we send that to the seller. Seller finance, how do we get paid? Let's assume, for conversation, I'm getting paid, I'm marketing a property, seller finance, and maybe I was gonna, my fee was $10,000. Okay. Once we work out those terms with the seller, then I've got a 1-page document I send the seller. Very super simple. It just says, hey, you want us to market the property, this address, these terms, and here's our compensation. Yes. Okay. And then once we have a buyer, then we send get the documents put together, and then we send title, an invoice, in this case, say for $10,000. We send that to title, so that our fee comes off the HUD, and we get paid a consultation fee. But yeah, we'll happy to kind of dial in those terms with you on this house, and so you can see what that would look like if you want us to help market to our audience, which we've got a pretty
Cool.
substantial reach. Then always happy to do that.
Thank you.
And like I said, our fee comes out of the down payment. So what we typically do, Will, is using this house as an example, is I'm going to pull that back up here, is where'd it go? Boom, boom. Right. Is that it? Okay. So you've got to call it 759,500. What we typically do, Will, is raise the price to, say, in this case, say 770, maybe maybe a little higher than that, 775. So you've got it marketed, say 759 for round number, 759. We're out here marketing it, say, 770, maybe 775, seller finance. If you get someone that comes along and buys, gets traditional financing, whether it be conventional, whatever. And just just like any other seller, you say, "Hey, John, I got a buyer. They're going to go conventional or whatever." Okay, great. And then that's it. We don't pay us anything, obviously. If we find the buyer, then we put all that together, put the documents together between all the parties, send it to the RMLO, get that done. It goes over to title, then we send everything over to title. So we take care of all the back end on that. But I say that just because our price is normally a little bit higher than your price. Yeah.
Cool.
So, but I can put all that together later today, maybe this evening, before I can, get you some information. I'll send you a little video, just like I do any other seller. In other words, I'll work with you. I'll approach this as if you're any other seller, just so I make sure that not to drop, so I have all any potential gaps filled in there, So,
Sure.
yeah, I'll get you that info later today for sure. Okay. Yeah.
Great.
And
Can I just kind of throw in something in here too?
Yeah.
For Will, I think you made a comment about, as far as like I think you said something about renting and everything else. Well, yeah, that property would not be really something that would appeal to a renter unless it was like really a discounted price. But to somebody that's getting in there, like say with a lease option where, hey, I'm going to be able to buy this property, that they are willing to say, it's going to take us more of a special type of buyer, like Jonette was saying earlier, somebody that either has cows or horses or whatever, and really like that sort of thing. But we found that people are definitely willing to pay a higher price than they might pay for rent than a property that they're going to actually buy as well too. And if I might go back to your triplex, I don't know do you feel you're at market rent on the rent for that one?
I do think I'm at market rent. I wish it was higher, but we actually started a little higher. We inherited it with one unit filled at the 3 bedroom at 1,300, and then we kind of went from there. We have a 2 bedroom and a 1 bedroom, and we actually had to soften a little bit. We offered it at a price, and then it just sat and sat, and so we gradually kind of lowered it. And of course, we're pretty thorough on our screening. So that was to get a qualified buyer, a renter. We might have gotten a lower tiered renter if we had, accepted a lesser quality tenant. But I do think that's pretty close to market.
Okay. Because that as an investor, if you were to say, well, we're actually a little, like say 10% less on from market rent, you might make it easier way to sell it that, hey, it does have a value play there as well too. But
yeah, that's a great point. And the funny thing is, this is what blows my mind is I have an online community. John and I have met at my in-person community, which I'm obviously not able to attend or be a part of anymore. So I had already started this online group, and let's say I've got 60 people on there, and I'm trying to get people to make offers. Just make an offer. You're not, and I put it out there. No one made me an offer. Crickets. I mean,
oh yeah.
I didn't tell them I won't accept a lower offer. I said, if it's something you might want, throw me a number and we can start a conversation, but you're not going to hurt my feelings. You can tell me 200 and I'll tell you that doesn't work for me and we can keep going. But I have such a hard time convincing people to make an offer. I think there's a number at which this could be a Burr property potentially. I don't know if it would be too low for me, but no one's even made that offer. It's funny to me.
Well, I'm going to explain why. And it goes back to psychology because they want, just like I said on the ad, if we were to market, put everything together for us to market this seller finance, we have a specific way we put that ad together. And so like if I were to, if I only had so many characters to put that ad together, I would put almost nothing about, the description and just put the terms and just hit 3 or 4 bullet points about the descriptions. They call for more info. Why? Because they want the buyer wants clarity. They want to know how much, what's the, like I told you, what's the price, how much down, what's the monthly, right? And so when you put out there on any property, you say make offer. Well, there's confusion. There's not they don't have they're not given direction. In other words, hey, asking five. I'm making up a number here. Asking 500,000 open to offers, can get creative, whatever. You give them some direction there, some guidance. to make an offer, if and this goes for not just the price, any property. If you just say, hey, make offer, well, that does not work. Um, if I were to take one of our prices and say, hey, make offer, well, um, people are kind of like deer in a headlight. They don't know what to do. But if you give them some guidance and say, hey, I've got this property, 750,000, asking 750,000. However, willing to do something creative. How much, on the down payment, on the price, let's make it work for you. In the monthly, where do you need to be? In other words, I'm being very, very quick on this, but you get the point. Give them a little bit of guidance, some points to go off of, right?
Right.
And now it kind of gets them geared towards that ability to make an offer.
No, that makes sense. They don't really have a starting point. I guess I'm a little bit more aggressive. But like if I see something I want, I'm gonna come at them with a cash offer, and then we can work into owner finance and other things. But I get these people who I don't call them students, but part of this community that they say, I'm not getting any deals. I say, how many offers have you made? Well, none. Well, I wonder why you haven't gotten any deals,
Yeah, exactly. And you never know what a seller's going to say yes or no to,
Right.
um, now I don't, in my case and with what we do specifically, we don't really quote unquote make offers. I'm just finding out what their situation is and with the house and this and that, and I explain a little bit about what we do and we do this, we do that, and then I don't look at it as an offer so much as, well, if we did a lease option, here's kind of what we'd be looking at, or seller finance, here's kind of what we'd be looking at, and then dial in the numbers from there. But yeah, from a psychological standpoint, if you just put, hey, make offer, and then more times than not, people are just they're not gonna make an offer because you haven't given them a little bit of guidance there,
That's great advice. I'm rarely a seller and often a buyer because we buy to rent typically. So this is a rare time where I'm selling two properties, but I don't like selling anything at all. And I don't think I'm good at sales, honestly. So that's really good advice to point them in the direction with a little more specificity of like what we're talking about.
Yep. And you can get however you want to get creative on that. But as an example, like if you're going to offer this on terms, meaning seller finance, but you were willing to get creative on that, in real estate, there's a saying you can have price for terms, but you can't have both. Okay, so let's call it 750,000 or 760,000. Hey guys, make offer. Let's get creative. 760,000. Whatever. We'll go as low as can go as low as 5% down, or whatever that is. It can go as low as I'm making this all up. Will
sure.
You got $15,000 down. Let's talk. Let's get creative. That $15,000 is using as an example. It gave them something to bounce off of, something to give them guidance on. Hey, I got 20,000 down or 25,000 down. Okay, let's talk. Right. So you want to throw in some sort of guidance on the down or the monthly, whatever.
No, I like that.
If that's something that you decide to do. Yeah.
Well, that's
So I have to run. Thanks very much, John and Jeanette.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Larry, for the feedback too.
You bet. Have a great day, everybody.
Take care, Larry. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
All right. But yeah, and so what I'll do, Will, is I'll reach out to later today. I've got a couple sellers. I've got sellers to follow up with. Actually, some in San Antonio that reached out and said, "Hey, let's talk." So I'll reach out to them.
Cool.
I'll grab some deed. I'll reach out to them. I'll put some preliminary info together on this house for seller finance. Just to again, I'll approach this just as if I don't know you. Say, okay, hey, Will,
cool.
That, and send you the video just so you can see that process, and then go from there.
That's great.
Once we do, if we put all this together and we market it, once we have a buyer, then we handle all the documentation, put all the P&S together, the seller finance addendum, send that to the RMLO, handle all that back end TC stuff, if you will, then hand it off to the attorney and that stuff. So all that's taken care of.
Wonderful. Yeah, man. Thank you, John. I got to jump off too, but these are great calls. I'll be on if I can catch the next one. I'll be on too. Great conversation, great information. You're doing a good service to people here.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. Yeah, I was doing them every, pretty much every Tuesday at noon Central. And so picking up again starting today. But yeah, we've gotten 2.5 hours already. And
wow.
If I wasn't so hungry, I could probably go on for another 4 or 5. But who knows? Maybe tomorrow I'll do or this week, maybe I'll do a follow-up one just because I've got so many leads to call,
Awesome. Well, I'll be looking for it, John. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
Jeanette, everyone, thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, bye, Anthony. Take care, guys. Okay, I'm going to take care. Bye-bye.